I made it to the big leagues as a 14th round draft pick. I made it to the big leagues as a collegiate walk-on, Division I walk-on with no scholarship. Um, there were people that were way better than me. There were people that were way more qualified than me, and there were people that signed for a lot more money than me, that were way more of a top prospect and top dude than me, that just didn't make it, that just failed out. They fizzled out because they did not work their competition.
Arteaga drives one to center. Miller hustling over. Diving catch by Ian Miller. A great catch.
3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the 9-Hole Podcast. This is your host, Ian Miller. I hope everybody had a fantastic Easter weekend, however you want to call it, whether you celebrate or you don't. I don't care, but happy Easter, man. I hope everybody's doing well. So obviously we are in full swing on the baseball season. Whether it is college ball, whether it's pro ball, whether it's minor leagues, major leagues, man, we're in it. High school season's starting up. Tournaments, travel ball, all that stuff. The younger players is trickling down. They're getting ready, regardless of what the weather is like. So I thought this was fitting. Obviously here on the 9-Hole Podcast, I am providing insight and info to the next generation of baseball players, student athletes, their parents, their coaches, whoever's listening, whoever my audience may be on this given day. So today is no different, right? If I'm not doing an interview, I'm going to be doing some type of, informational, educational type webinar on a certain topic, or we're going to be talking about, sports news, what's going on, man. Today, I wanted to hit on what baseball really is when it boils down to it. You peel the cover off of it. Everybody has different hopes and dreams and aspirations when they walk onto the field, whether it's they want to get to the big leagues or they want to get, hopefully a free education or a discount education, right? As some sort of scholarship to pay for an educational opportunity. There are different things that people set out to do and achieve regardless. When they put on the uniform, everybody's got different goals. Everybody's got different aspirations, but I wanted to touch on something that's a little bit deeper. So regardless of what you want in the game of baseball, you are going to have to progress. You're going to have to get better, or you run the risk of being replaced. And I wanted to hit on 10 things that I've learned on my almost a decade-long professional career on my path to not being replaced. I wanted to touch on 10 things that I've learned, whether it be the hard way or whether it be things that have been taught to me either by experiencing them or people, leaders, people that I looked up to, teammates, coaches, whatever it is, they're shedding info to me. I'd like to pass that to you guys. So the sooner off that you guys can learn these things, maybe implement and develop these things, these traits, these ideas, the better off that you will be in your career. And so let's get into it, man. Let's get right into it. Obviously, that each level that you advance, the demands are going to be more. Each level that you advance, the demands are going to be more, the competition is going to be tougher, and the requirements are going to be, way more strenuous on you, your body, your mental game, everything, man. So there are going to be a whole bunch of different demands, requirements as you progress, and you are going to have to rise up and you are going to have to meet those challenges head on. You are going to have to progress and evolve with those things that are going to be required and demanded of you. So number one, this isn't necessarily the number one thing that I've learned on my journey. These aren't in any type of like incremental order. These are just things that I wanted to throw down and kind of arrange just so it made sense. So number one, something that I've learned on my journey, on my decade-long journey of not being replaced, is that you're going to have to get better each year in order to progress. So obviously, that, a baseball season is 6-7 months long, whatever it is. And you play 50 plus games in Division I baseball, D2, D3, all that good stuff. But if you come back from the off season, if you come back from, whether it's a 6-month long off season or you come back into spring training, you come back into, the fall semester, man, if you did not get better the year before, if you did not progress, if you did not refine a skill, if you did not build or incrementally get better at some part of your game, some facet of your game, you are not going to progress. right? So if you do not get better and you do not utilize your time and your off seasons the right way, you will not progress and somebody will take your spot. That is lesson number one. That is something that I've learned the hard way. That is something that I've learned. I've experienced it. I've came into spring training. I've came into the season. Right, the off season is done. You roll around into the season, and I've come in. I've gotten better. I've improved, and I've taken somebody's spot because I got better than I was the year before. If you were going to repeat a level, let's say if you don't do well, you hit 250 and you're going to repeat double A, and you prance back out there and you hit 250 again, you are not going to progress. You will be replaced. That's how that goes. It's not always fair, but it is final. Number two, you are always going to be watched. Scouts, coaches, and teammates are always going to be watching you, right? So it's going to be important for you to carry yourself accordingly, not just between the white lines, but everywhere, whether it's on social media, whether it's in the locker room, or whether it's at home or outside, whether you're at a bar or a restaurant, whatever it is. Like, there is always going to be eyes on you. There are always going to be eyes on you. There are going to be people evaluating you, seeing how you handle whether it's failure, seeing how you handle certain situations, seeing how when shit doesn't go your way, when you aren't favorable here, when you aren't favored in any sort of outcome, people are always going to be watching you. Whether that's people that are evaluating you and making decisions on your career, whether that's the people that you go to war with day in and day out, share a uniform with, right? You wear the same jersey as those people. They're watching your every move, and they're going to they're going to make up their mind on whether they can trust you, whether they can, you're a leader, you're a follower, all that stuff. So you are always going to be watched. So carry yourself accordingly. Maybe think twice before you tweet something out that maybe you shouldn't say. Maybe think twice before you do something crazy out at a bar after a couple sodas, whatever that is, right? Make sure that you carry yourself accordingly because you are always going to be evaluated and watched. Number three, nothing will be given to you. You'll have to earn everything that you want. It's not always going to be fair, and the right person doesn't always get the opportunity. So, as baseball players, we know that the hard work will eventually, hopefully, bring results, right? Wrong. Wrong. There's a plethora of different factors that are outside of your control. And whether you get promoted or whether you jump a guy or not, doesn't doesn't necessarily come down to you, your stats, your thoughts, all that stuff, man. It's not always going to be fair, and the right person doesn't always get that opportunity. The right person doesn't always get that call up, that promotion, that starting spot. It's not always going to be fair, but it's not going to be given to you. So you're going to have to outwork. You're going to have to persevere through the bullshit. You're going to have to outwork and persevere through any type of, misfortune, any type of, opportunities that are being given to other people. It's not always going to be fair. It's for sure not always going to be fair. So the sooner that you can kind of buy into that and recognize it, the sooner you might be able to get prepared and kind of get in front of it. That's something that I kind of struggled with probably like midway through my career, where it's like early in my professional career, I would do well and I would kind of be like on top of the world, not necessarily knowing what's going on. Whereas, you know, probably halfway through my career, right when I started getting to double A, it's like, hey man, I'm hitting, 285 or 300 or whatever it is. Why am I not getting promoted? Like, it's not always fair, man. There's money involved. There's roster spots involved. Like it's a pyramid to go up, right? So it's like everybody gets drafted, and you start here at the base of the pyramid, and it just keeps going up, and it keeps getting, pointier at the top, however you want to say it. Less and less people move up, and it's not always fair. There's a whole bunch of different factors that play into it, but nothing will be given to you. You're going to have to earn everything that you want, and you're going to have to convince other people along the way. Number four, you're going to have to outwork your competition or you'll fail out. Or you will fail out. So I've alluded to this on past episodes, past podcasts. It's like, dude, I made it to the big leagues as a 14th round draft pick. I made it to the big leagues as a collegiate walk-on, Division I walk-on with no scholarship. There were people that were way better than me. There were people that were way more qualified than me. And there were people that signed for a lot more money than me, that were way more of a top prospect and top dude than me, that just didn't make it, that just failed out. They fizzled out because they did not work their competition. whether it was some sort of complacency or they didn't get after it in the offseason. Maybe they came back, into spring training out of shape, overweight, their swing stunk, whatever it is. But these evaluators, these scouts, these coaches that are always going to be watching you, like we talked about, they can see through the bullshit. They can say, "Hey, dude, this guy did not put in the adequate work in the offseason." Um, it's either you fail out, you get replaced, or you put the work in. There's no other substitute there. So there's an equation that goes into this. I can't take credit for this. This is something that I've learned, but the equation that's going to need to be inherited or implemented into your process, into your routine, whether it's in season or off season, is volume times time equals skill. So, in order to develop a skill or to get skilled or get better at something, get more skilled at it, you need to put in volume and you need to put in time. Volume, the amount of times that you do something times time, the amount of time that you do it when you do it equals a skill. So if you want to develop a better skill than your competition, if you want to outwork your competition so you don't fail out or get replaced, you need to put in more volume and you need to put in more time. And that will eventually equate to skill. Volume times time equals skill. That equation will need to become bigger and bigger each level that you progress. Each level that you go up, that's going to become more prevalent in your process. The only way to get around that equation of skill, right? Just breaking down to volume and time, how many times you do it and how long you spend each time you do it. The only way around that is if the quality of the reps that you put out day in and day out are better and more consistently sound than everybody else. So when we talk about quality over quantity, that's what we're talking about. In order to develop a skill and be better than somebody else, somebody that you're trying to replace or somebody that it's your competition, you want to outwork them, you need to put in more volume than them and you need to put in more time than them and that will equal skill, right? Volume times time equals skill. The only way around that are quality reps. That's it. Would you rather have 100 swings before a game and 25 of them be quality? Or would you rather have 30 swings before the game and all 30 of them be quality? That's what I'm getting at. Volume times time equals skill. And you can that equation, you can make that exponentially quicker. You can make that skill develop much quicker, exponentially quicker. That's a crazy word for me to keep throwing in there. Is to have quality reps. So quality practice. You see the top competitors in BP, every fucking round has a purpose. Every swing has a purpose. You want to develop that skill, you need to put in the quality reps, not necessarily quantity, right? I'd rather have 30 great swings than 100 average swings, right? That's going to help me develop my skill more. That's what I'm talking about. So volume times time equals skill. You're going to have to outwork your competition or you will be replaced. You will fail out. Number 5, you're going to have to learn and better your craft every single year. This talks about same thing. Number 1, right? You need to get better each year. But number 5, right? You're going to need to learn your craft. You're going to need to better it every single year. So you're going to take your, maybe a little section of your game, right? For me, this was extremely prevalent towards the back end of my career, right? The final maybe 2, 3, 4 years. Man, I was fast. I could get on base and I could run a little bit, right? So that helped me progress through the lower level minor leagues. But then you get to a point where like you need to better that craft. You need to enhance that craft. For me, bunting was hard as shit. I was a small ball guy, right? I was fast. So the first baseman and the third baseman would play down my throat every single at bat. So it's not necessarily, hey, dude, if I get better at bunting. Bunting's hard as shit. So is hitting. I needed to refine other aspects of my game. I needed to progress. I needed to further other aspects of my game. So the defense, kind of refining that skill, getting better with my arm, my throwing arm, the accuracy, the strength, developing a long toss routine, and the coverage, like how much ground I could cover in the outfield, and then get to it with some good first step reads. That was something that I needed to better. That was kind of a deficiency of mine, something that I could really just get incrementally better at, man. Just really put in the time and effort and focus on that, man. That's something that really saved, and prolonged my career a couple years further, I think. So my defense was that right there. Number 5, you're going to need to learn and better your craft every single year. So whether it was base running the year before, whether it's bunting this year, and whether it's going to be defense, that's going to be the thing that you focus on in the offseason. Going into next year, there's going to need to be some facet, some part of your game that you go all in on and you get better at, right? Number 6, you're going to have to be able to make adjustments, and you're going to need to be able to implement those immediately. So these adjustments, they're not just going to be a band-aid to a problem, or a quick fix, or a quick fix to some mechanic, or a quick fix to some thought process. Dude, these could be season-long adjustments that you need to learn and implement fucking that night. That took me a long time. That took me a long time to buy into. I'm hard-headed. As baseball players, we are hard-headed, right? We are hard-headed. We are confident in our abilities. We're confident in what got us here. But the game and the pitchers and the pitches and the timing between pitches and the timing of these pitches, they are changing. They're adapting, right? Pitchers are improvising. They're fucking around with timing. They're trying to get you off the barrel. So in order for you to get back on the barrel and consistently stay on the barrel, there needs to be adjustments made, and those adjustments need to be implemented, and those adjustments need to be implemented immediately, and they need to be there to stay. So in order for you to progress, in order for you not to get replaced, you're going to have to be able to make those adjustments and make those quickly. And you're going to need to go to war with those adjustments immediately. Not just a quick fix, could be a season long adjustment that you're going to have to buy into, you're going to have to learn, and you're going to have to consistently implement. Improvise, adapt, implement, overcome. That's big. As I kind of, bought into and learned more about my swing as I progressed through my career, these are things that I needed to do, basically weekly. This is big if you're in pro ball, or if you're play Division 1 baseball, whatever it is, you're playing teams over and over again. You're facing the same Friday night guy. You're facing the same number 1 starter. You're facing the same bullpen. Maybe they're in your division. Maybe they're your rival. You guys are going to face them multiple times during the year. Those pitchers are going to develop new routines to attack you. They say, "Oh shit, dude, he took me deep on my off-speed pitches. Maybe I attack him differently this time around. Maybe I attack him differently this series. Maybe I pitch him backwards." Right? They're going to be implementing and kind of like improvising, right? So you're going to need to adapt to that. You're going to need to make adjustments, and you're going to have to like put those adjustments to work that night in order to get the better of the competition that is trying to outwit you. Number 7. This is a big one. This is a big one. This is a real big one. Number 7. The coaches in the front office are always looking to replace you. That's their job. Don't give them a reason or make yourself expendable in the least bit. It's just you advocating for yourself, and you do it by performing and being a good teammate. So the front office and the coaches that make those decisions, their job is to find somebody better than you. That is literally their job. And your job as the student athlete, as the player, as the professional player, wherever you're at, your job is to make sure that they can't find somebody better than you. So you need to do everything that I'm talking about, whereas you need to like take some facet of your game and build on it. You need to get better each year. You need to do the little things right. You need to kind of protect your persona and protect your reputation on the field, off the field. Make sure you don't fuck up so that you aren't expendable. You need to protect that. Those guys are looking to build the best roster. Those guys are looking to call up the best talent. They are looking to build the best team in hopes of having the best chance of winning. When you get to the big leagues, it is all about winning. It's a little tough at first because in the minor leagues, it's about development. They want to, and when I say they, I'm talking about the front office, I'm talking about the coaches, the managers, the people that make the decisions. They want to develop the best Major League Baseball players in hopes of winning the most games. So it's about winning up at the top. It's not necessarily about winning in the minor leagues, but their job is to find somebody better than you, somebody that they think can help them win better than you. And your job is to make sure that they can't. So you need to do everything you can on and off the field between the white lines and outside of those white lines to make sure that they cannot do that. Number 8, you're going to have to perform under pressure, and you're going to have to do that more consistently and be uncomfortable more consistently the higher you go up. So if you're hitting 300 in double A, man, when you go up to triple A, the travel is going to be a little bit different. Schedule is going to be a little bit different. The money's going to be a little bit different. The level of competition, the pitchers, the stadiums, everything's going to be a little bit different. The pressure is going to be a lot more different. The situations are going to be a lot different. If you're in college and you get drafted and you get thrust into the professional ranks, those situations are going to be different. That pressure is going to be different. You're going to be way more uncomfortable. You're not going to have any money. You're not going to have any time for yourself. It's going to be all about the game. As you go up, you're going to need to perform under pressure, and you're going to do it more consistently, or you'll be replaced. You'll be used in higher leverage situations to see what you're capable of. And a lot of times that is by design. So I was a base running threat. I could handle myself in the outfield. I could be a defensive replacement, pinch run, that type of guy. Late inning base running. Dude, towards the end of my AAA career, before I got to the big leagues, they started designing those type of situations for me. So I would be a bench player, or I wouldn't be playing. And when I needed to come in to get a sack bunt down or steal a bag or go play defense, like, they would make those situations, and they would want to see me thrive in those type of situations. Maybe come off the bench in extra innings to lay a bunt down or to steal a bag, right? It's the situations where everybody in the stadium knows that you're going to be stealing as a base runner, as a pinch runner. Those are the situations that they want to see, right? Remember number 2 we talked about? Everybody's always going to be watching you. There is always somebody at a professional baseball game. Always. There's somebody there that's going to make some sort of decision about your career. There's always going to be somebody watching you. There's always going to be somebody watching you. So you're going to have to perform under pressure, and you're going to have to do it more consistently. That's that word again. So the front office, the people that make the decisions on your career, they want to see you struggle. On top of that, what's more, they want to see how you handle it. Do you shrivel up into that raisin that we've been talking about for a couple episodes? Are you able to adapt? Are you able to make those adjustments? And are you able to kind of get slapped around a little bit and then come back out for tomorrow night's game? Or do you take that defeated type attitude and defeated mentality into the next series, the next AB, the next night, whatever it is? They want to see that. The front office, the people that are making those decisions, they need to see you under pressure. They need to see you uncomfortable. They need to see you struggle. They need to see that stuff. They need to see that stuff, because when you get to the big leagues in front of 50,000 plus people, all that stuff's going to come out. There's going to be insane pressure. You are going to be uncomfortable. You are going to struggle. You are going to get fucking carved up. They need to be able to see how you can handle that before you get there. And you're going to need to prove that. The higher you go up, the higher all that stuff matters. The more all that stuff matters, the more the pressure matters, the more pressure you're going to get. It's crazy, but it's true. Number 9. You're going to have to play to win, and you're going to have to prove it every single day, every single year. You're going to have to play to win, and you're going to have to prove it. The higher you go up, like I said, the more it becomes about winning, period. So if you want to keep progressing, if you are an outfielder, if you're a center field type, leadoff, 9-hole hitter, whatever it is, and you play great defense, you need to prove that you can be the best leadoff 9-hole hitter and defensive center fielder that can help your team win, whether it is fucking hustling out of the box and beating out an infield single, or if it's an error, whatever it is, like doing those little things right. You're just trying to win. The more that you can do that, the better position you put yourself in to get a call up over the next guy. That's how that works, man. The higher you go up, the more it becomes about winning, period. What can you do to help your ball club win? And sometimes, dude, when you're in AA, AAA, it's not necessarily what you can do to help the AA or AAA ball club win. It's what can you do to help the big league ball club win. So when I was at Wagner, so I talked about I was a Division I walk-on, didn't have a scholarship. I walked on and I ended up taking care of business, right? Took care of my stats, did my thing, stole a couple bags, played some defense, and I ended up getting drafted in the 14th round. And I remember that one of the knocks on me was that my team wasn't necessarily good. So the Wagner Seahawks that I played for my freshman, sophomore, and junior year, we didn't really win a whole lot of games, man. We weren't that good of a team. And my particular skill set, I was a base hit bunt. I was a runner. I could play defense. My skill set, they didn't necessarily see that I could help a team win. So if I'm that good, if I am a potential Major League Baseball player playing in the Northeast Conference, I should be able to lead the Wagner Seahawks to victory. I necessarily couldn't do that. Couldn't necessarily do that, man. It's tough to do that as a single player. But they didn't see me influence enough baseball games and win enough baseball games for my team or help them win enough baseball games to necessarily make me rise up a couple rounds, maybe get a couple, get a couple zeros on the end of my signing bonus, maybe get a comma or two on my signing bonus. So that would have been big. They wanted to see if I could help a baseball team win. I got drafted on talent. I got drafted on potential projectability. I wasn't necessarily helping my team win. That is big, dude. That's big. And the higher you go up, the more that matters. They will make decisions on you based on if you can help a Major League Baseball team win or not. That is big, dude. Took me a long time to realize that. I was told that kind of out of the draft, and it really didn't make sense until I got to the big leagues where I saw, like, hey, dude, they got scouting reports on every single dweeb in the bullpen. Dweebs that don't even like come in, you know what I mean? Or have 12 ERAs, but like it's about winning. You need to have every single little tell, and you need to have every little, upper advantage over each one of those guys. It's about winning. Number 10. And just because it's number 10 does not mean that this is the least important thing that I've learned through my journey of trying to not be replaced. But number 10 is you are going to need a routine. This is fucking huge, man. You're going to need to develop a routine. You're going to need to create a routine. You're going to need to figure out a routine, and it's going to need to get you ready to play at 7:05 p.m. You are going to need to be ready through this routine at first pitch, 7:05 p.m., regardless of the circumstances, regardless of if you got up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. to go travel, whether it's a travel day, PCL, Pacific Coast League, you're fucking traveling from, Seattle to Nashville, whatever it is. You need to develop and implement a routine that no matter what's going on in the world, no matter what's going on in your personal life, you can lock in and you'll be ready for first pitch at 7:05. And if you do not have a routine, then one will be made for you. Slumps are going to happen. Pre-game availability for batting practice and all those times will differ depending on the schedule, depending on who you play for, depending on where you play. All that shit, dude, there isn't necessarily a set routine for all that. You need to find and implement what works for you and build a routine so that you can get ready for 7:05. You might not have a half hour in the cage and then, 45 minutes to 75 minutes on the field for BP. Like that might get turned upside down on its head. If it rains and you can't go out to take a couple rounds of BP and see how far you can hit home runs, dude, is that going to matter? Should that matter? Like you need to be able to lock in. You need to have some sort of process, some sort of routine so that you can be ready at 7:05. You need to make sure that you have a routine in process or in place or a process in place to get you ready, regardless of if you can take your full BP and get your pregame peanut butter and jelly in or not. When shit hits the fan, you need to make sure that you're grounded by this routine that you've developed and implemented so you aren't all over the place and doing unnecessary stuff on just bullshit that does not matter. So we talked about Major League Baseball players, the best baseball players in the world do stuff on purpose with purpose. They aren't just on autopilot going through the motions. They have a set routine in place, and each swing, each round in batting practice has a purpose. That's what you need to do. You need to get to that level, even if you're in high school, whether you're in college, like if you can get to that level, each swing has a purpose. You're putting in quality reps, quality drills, quality rounds, and whatever type of like routine or process you have, that's how you differentiate from everybody else, man. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. When you are slumping or when shit hits the fan, you need something to be able to fall back on. That's a routine. So hopefully you've developed a routine when shit was going well for you, right? Why are you going to start all of a sudden developing a routine, when you're 0 for 30? That's probably not a good idea. Hopefully you developed this routine when you were feeling yourself, when you could do no wrong. Like, okay, I needed to do this to make sure that my swing was on plane, or I needed to do this sort of drill for 3 rounds, like, before I went out and took BP on the field because it helps me get on my backside. Like, hopefully you're not implementing this stuff as a last chance resort emergency type thing when you're 0 for 30. You know what I mean? Like, you need to develop a routine, and it's easier when things are going well and, you have an idea and your head's on, right? As opposed to having an "oh shit" routine. "Oh shit, I'm 0 for 30. I need to develop a routine now." It's probably too late for you. It's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. So those are the 10 things that I've learned. Those are the 10 things that I wanted to pass on to you guys. Um, just over the course of, almost a decade in professional baseball, on how to progress so you don't get replaced. If there's one thing that I can give you, some sort of hands-on exercise or tool that you can implement into your game immediately, something that has helped me immensely. I'm just throwing out unbelievable words and adjectives out there, but keep a book. Keep a book where you're able to track your performance, track your ABs, track your pitches, track the results, track the situation. So I have it around here somewhere. I do have it right here. I'm not just going to rip it up here on stream so you can show it, so you can see it, but keep a book. Keep a book. If anybody listens to this last minute of this stream and they would like to see my personal book that I used and I kept detailed down to the pitch, down to the count, down to what the pitch looked like. Oh, it was a 2-1 slider. April 4th, 2019. He threw me a 2-1 slider and I hit it to right center field home run. Like, I have that shit written down. What the situation was, what the count was, how many outs in the inning there were, what he threw me the AB prior, what his changeup looked like. Like, I would track all that stuff, dude. And that's how an average dweeb gets to the big leagues, when they're willing to do shit that nobody else is willing to do. That's how it goes, man. It sucked keeping a book like that. It sucked keeping a book like that. Imagine going 0 for 4 with 4 punch outs and writing and charting all that stuff after the game or in between the at bats. Like, okay, he struck me out on a fucking 98-mile-an-hour fastball away. It could have been it was a questionable. So, like, I would do that over the course of a whole season, and that would separate me from everybody else. And then when I would play that team again in May or June, right, whatever it was, a couple weekends, couple series later, I know what that guy fucking carved me up with last AB. I knew that with a man on second base and 2 outs, he's going to flip me that curveball or do something off speed, or he's going to try to get me to chase in a 2-2 count, because this is what he did last time. And then as my teammates started seeing that, they started implementing it. That's just how it goes, man. It's how it goes. If you're willing to do what other people aren't, you'll probably get what other people can't. So I appreciate everybody tuning in here. If I had to guess, it's not on the schedule right now, but if I was a betting man, I would bet that I'd be talking some sort of baseball news and what's going around in the league, in Major League Baseball, before the weekend's over, maybe even before the weekend hits. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I appreciate you guys for being here. Take care.